There's something quiet in you that knows. When things get messy, when your chest tightens, when your mind spins out, that not everything is broken. That part of you waits, patiently, like the ocean at low tide. It knows. The tide always returns. It always does. And so will you. Sometimes you forget that. You think the low feelings are permanent. You start to believe that if you're not doing well all the time, you must be doing something wrong. But if you ever stood by the sea and watched the water pull away from the shore, you'd notice something important. It always comes back. Not in the same form, not always calmly, but it returns. And that's what your emotions do too. You are not broken when you feel heavy. You are not weak when you feel low. You're simply in the ebb part of your tide. The mistake we make is trying to control the tide. You try to force yourself out of sadness, push through anxiety, pretend you're fine when you're far from it. But does the ocean rush the moon to turn the tide faster? Does it panic when the beach goes dry? No, it trusts its rhythm. And that's what you're being asked to do. Not to force your way back to joy, not to fix every mood, just to stay near the waterline, just to breathe, just to know that emotional movement is part of life, and it doesn't mean you've failed. Here's a thought experiment for today. Imagine yourself standing on the shore. You feel low, worn out. Nothing seems to be working. Just breathe. Visualize the waves slowly pulling away from your feet. That's the ebb. That's this moment. Now, without rushing, imagine the wave turning, curling, coming back toward you. It's not here yet, but it's moving. Your job is to stay. Just stay until it touches you again. Don't run after it. Don't panic. Just wait. In real life, this looks like staying present with your discomfort without trying to erase it. It means journaling how you actually feel, not how you wish you felt. It means getting up and taking care of your body even if your heart's not in it. It means remembering the last time you felt this low, and how you eventually came back to yourself. Remember that one time you were convinced you'd never feel calm again. But eventually, you did. You laughed again. You focused again. You felt okay again. And that wasn't a fluke. That was your natural tide. Now let's get honest. Some days it won't feel like a tide. It'll feel like drowning. That's okay too. But in those moments, remind yourself, just because the shore is bare doesn't mean the ocean left you. It's just pulling back. It's getting ready to return. Let yourself ride these tides. Some days, you'll be high energy, optimistic, full of ideas. On others, you'll need quiet. You'll need to cancel plans. You'll need to cry or sleep or do absolutely nothing. Let that be okay. Don't fight the rhythm. Don't judge it. You are not a machine. You are nature in motion. Here's something you can try tonight. Before bed, write down the phase of your emotional tide. Just a sentence or two. Today felt like low tide. Or, I caught a high tide moment during my walk. Track the pattern. You'll begin to trust it. You'll see it moves. Always. The tide always returns. So give yourself permission to stay still for now. Let your body slow. Let your mind drift. You're not behind. You're just between waves. There's a different kind of moment. When it's not just low tide anymore. When the sky darkens, the wind howls, and the sea turns violent. That's when the storm rolls in. And you've had storms like that. The kind of days or weeks where everything hits at once. The unexpected news, the panic out of nowhere, the heartbreak that cracks you wide open. You brace yourself but still get knocked over. And when that happens, you often wonder, why now? Or why me? Or will I ever feel okay again? But look at the coastline. Have you noticed how the jagged cliffs, the smooth sand, the deep coves, none of that happened in perfect weather? It was the storm that did the shaping. What feels destructive in the moment is sometimes the very force that redefines your strength. Let yourself remember a time when you were in emotional chaos. Maybe you were grieving. Maybe everything felt out of control. What happened after? Not immediately, but eventually, you got quieter, clearer. Maybe you cut ties that needed cutting. Maybe you started something new. Maybe you finally listened to yourself. This doesn't mean we go looking for pain, but when it finds you, and it will, your job isn't to avoid it. Your job is to stand firm like a lighthouse. You might shake, you might bend, but you don't disappear. Here's a practical way to face emotional storms. Name the shape of the storm. Don't say, "I'm a mess." Say, "This is disappointment." Say, "This is grief." Say, "This is rage that wants to protect something soft inside me." Give your emotions a name, and you'll find they're easier to stand beside. Like watching thunder roll in from the distance. You know it's a storm. You know it will pass. Try this thought experiment. Imagine yourself as a cliff overlooking the ocean. A storm is pounding the waves against you. It's wild, unpredictable. But you stay. Not frozen. Not hiding. Present. Breathing. You let the waves crash, but you don't crumble. Because you're not just experiencing the storm. You're being reshaped by it. Stronger. More grounded. More honest. What if the storm isn't ruining you, but revealing you? Here's a real-life scenario. You're feeling overwhelmed. Everything you planned is falling apart. You feel like you're failing. Your chest is tight. You want to give up. Pause. Ask, what is this storm trying to show me? Is it asking me to let go of something I'm clinging to? Is it breaking down something that no longer fits who I'm becoming? The next time this happens, try something unusual. Don't try to solve it. Don't try to explain it to anyone. Just say out loud, "This storm is part of me, and I can handle it." You don't need to fix it in that moment. You just need to stay in the boat. Because storms don't last forever. They never do. But they do leave something behind. A new edge. A new layer of trust in yourself. A new way to stand still. Here's your journaling prompt for this section. What storm shaped me in a way I didn't expect? Write it without trying to be poetic. Be raw, be honest, and don't judge yourself if the answer is something still unresolved. Some storms are slow to clear, and when the sky lightens again, when your nervous system calms and your energy returns, you'll realize something. You made it. You always do. Maybe a little changed, maybe a little wiser, but still here. So, the next time you feel the wind picking up, don't panic. You've done this before. And what shaped you didn't break you. There's something about standing at the edge of the ocean that calms you, even when the waves crash. And maybe you've wondered why. Maybe it's because beneath the noise, there's something deeper going on. The surface is wild, unpredictable. But underneath, it's quiet. Still. Steady. That's your emotional life, too. Right now, you might feel like your thoughts are thrashing, your mood shifting every hour, your sense of control slipping. But that's just the surface. Underneath the chaos, there's a depth in you, a place that doesn't move with every gust of wind. And the more you get to know that place, the more resilient you become. You don't need to chase calm. You already have it. It's just buried beneath the noise. Try this. Close your eyes and imagine diving below the waves. You're not fighting them. You're not floating above them. You're going under. One breath at a time, you descend past the breakers, past the pull, past the motion, until it gets quiet. You're not numb. You're aware. Present. You're in the deep. That's what it means to be emotionally still. Not passive, not detached, just anchored. But here's the challenge. You live most of your life on the surface. Notifications, distractions, opinions, expectations. You feel like you have to respond, fix, perform, and so you forget the deep exists. You live from the reaction, not from the root. That's when things start to feel like too much. When you start to think you're the storm instead of the sea. Here's something to try today. When you feel overwhelmed, stop. Just for 60 seconds. Put your hand on your chest. Inhale slowly. Exhale even slower. Then ask, what's beneath this? Don't try to fix it. Just notice. Is it fear? Is it loneliness? Is it grief you haven't named yet? You're not trying to change the surface. You're trying to connect with the deep. Here's a scenario you'll recognize. You get into an argument with someone you love. Words get sharp, emotions spike. The wave hits. You walk away, shaky and confused. That's surface life. But if you pause, just a moment, you might notice something quieter underneath. Maybe it's that old fear of being misunderstood. Maybe it's a part of you that wants safety. That's the deep. That's what needs your attention, not just the loudness of the moment. This kind of awareness is not something you master once. It's something you practice every day, especially when things feel messy. Let's talk about presence. Being here, now. Not in the past where you regret, not in the future where you worry, but now. Presence is how you dive into the deep. It's how you break through the surface noise. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine each thought as a ripple on the water. Instead of following each one, you let it pass. You don't grab it. You don't fight it. You just stay where you are, breathing, anchored. Eventually, the ripples slow, and underneath them is you, the steady part of you, the part that doesn't need to be anyone or do anything. Just be. Stillness isn't silence. Stillness is recognition. A moment when you see yourself clearly, even if just for a breath. Tonight, try this. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. No music, no phone, just you and your breath. Feel awkward? Good. That means you're doing it right. That means the surface is stirring. Stay anyway. Let the stillness rise. Because every time you choose to sit in the quiet, every time you stay present with what is, instead of running from it, you strengthen your resilience. You remind your nervous system that stillness is possible, that you're not at the mercy of every wave, that you can go deeper. And the more you go there, the more you live from the deep, the less you're shaken by the surface. The more you trust your ability to return, again and again, to that quiet place inside you. You don't have to be calm all the time. You just need to know where your calm lives. You're out there, trying to hold it all together, keeping busy, keeping up, and then suddenly, life yanks you sideways. An unexpected shift, a plan unraveling, a decision that feels too big. You start to panic, to grasp, to swim harder. And the more you fight it, the more lost you feel. That's the current pulling you. That's what it feels like to be overwhelmed. Now here's what the ocean teaches you. When the current gets strong, don't thrash, don't tighten, drift. It sounds counterintuitive. You've been taught to push through, to fix everything quickly, to prove you're in control. But emotional resilience isn't about dominating your inner world. It's about navigating it. And sometimes that means letting go, not to drown, but to be carried long enough to regain your strength. Picture this. You're caught in a rip current. The instinct is to swim straight back to shore. But that only exhausts you. The right move? Let it carry you sideways. Stay afloat. Conserve energy. Trust that the pull won't last forever. That's not giving up. That's wisdom. Same goes for your feelings. The moment panic hits, or grief breaks open, or uncertainty floods in, your instinct is to fix, to force, to retreat. But what if, just for once, you let it carry you? You acknowledged that you're in a current, and that's okay? Here's something to try next time you feel emotionally pulled under. Name the current. Say to yourself, "This is the current of doubt," or "This is the current of fatigue." Just naming it creates space. Then ask, "Can I float here, just for now?" No action, no solution, just float. Think about a time when you resisted what was happening. You fought to stay in control, and it only made you more tense, more overwhelmed. Now imagine if, instead of tightening, you'd softened. What would that moment have felt like if you gave yourself permission to drift? Here's a real-life scenario. You're waiting on news. Maybe it's medical results, a job interview, a conversation you're dreading. You want answers, closure. You want out of the in-between, but you can't speed it up. So what do? You float. You acknowledge, "I'm in the waiting space. This isn't forever, but for now, I'm here. You light a candle, you make tea, you breathe slower. That's not surrendering to fear. That's surrendering to the moment. This isn't about giving up, it's about giving in. Just enough to conserve what you need for when the current lets go. And it always lets go. Here's your thought experiment. Imagine you're floating in warm, open water. There's no land in sight. You feel uneasy at first, but then you notice the rhythm of your breath. You notice that you're still above water, that you're safe. You stop reaching, you stop flailing, and suddenly you feel something unfamiliar ease, not because the water changed, but because you did. You can bring that moment into your actual day. When things start slipping out of your hands, try this sentence. I don't need to control this. I just need to stay present. Write it somewhere visible. Say it when your brain wants to spiral. Let it remind you that you're not powerless. You're participating. Here's your journaling prompt. What am I trying to force right now? What would happen if I let go, just a little? And if your fear says, but what if I drift too far? Remind yourself, you know how to swim. You're not surrendering forever. You're resting. You're pausing. You're realigning. And that's brave. You don't have to master the moment. You just have to meet it, softly. So drift. Don't drown. Let the current teach you something. Let it take you where effort can't. You'll find your way back, not by force, but by trust. You've stood at the edge of the ocean before, watching the horizon melt into the sky. And for a moment, maybe just a second, you felt it. That connection. That sense that you are not apart from this world, but part of it. That your body, your breath, your emotions, they don't exist outside of nature. They are nature. You are made of water, mostly just like the ocean. And if the ocean can rage, rise, rest, and recover, so can you. Resilience isn't about becoming something other than human. It's about remembering who you already are. That you belong to something vast. That you move like it, feel like it, shift like it. You are not broken because you feel deeply. You are built for it. Some days, you'll wish you could shut it all off. The intensity, the highs and lows. But then you'd lose the richness too. The full spectrum, the beauty that comes from living wide open. The key is to stop fighting your nature. Imagine your emotional life as a tide pool, a small echo of the larger ocean. It changes constantly. Some days, it's clear and reflective. Other days, murky and turbulent. But it's always connected to something bigger. That's your emotional ecosystem. Your moods, your reactions, your needs, they're all part of one interconnected system. You can learn to tend to that system, the way a diver learns to respect a coral reef, with care, with observation, with softness. Think of a time recently when you judged yourself for being too much, or not enough, too emotional, too numb, too reactive, too quiet. What if you viewed those reactions not as flaws, but as signals, not as signs of failure, but of adaptation? You've survived every emotional state you've ever had, and not by accident. Your body, your heart, your mind, they knew what to do, even when you didn't. Let's try something gentle here. Think of a moment from today when you felt something, anything, strongly. A flash of irritation, a pang of longing, a swell of joy. Instead of analyzing it, just say, that was part of my ocean. That's it. No judgment, just recognition. That's how you practice emotional resilience. Not by hardening, but by softening, by allowing space for every feeling to arrive, speak, and eventually leave. Here's a thought experiment. Visualize yourself standing knee-deep in the sea. A wave rolls in. It could be joy or sadness or stress. You let it come. It touches you, moves through you. Then it rolls out. You don't chase it. You don't cling. You just stay. Staying doesn't mean stagnation. It means presence. That's where your strength is, in your ability to stay connected, not just to yourself, but to everything, to the people you love, to the sky above you, to the moment you're in. That's the final lesson from the ocean. You are not alone in this. You're not an island. You're part of something fluid, ancient, alive. And you don't have to hold yourself together all the time to be worthy of peace. You just have to remember you're already made of it. Tonight, here's your final journaling prompt. What part of me is trying too hard to hold back the tide? And then, what would it feel like to let myself flow instead? This isn't about surrendering your power. It's about realizing you never lost it. You're not a problem to be solved. You're a sea to be understood. Resilience isn't resistance. It's remembering. Remembering you already adapt. You already change. You already return. Just like the ocean. So now, let yourself slow. Let the words settle, like sand drifting to the bottom of the sea. You don't need to remember everything, just feel what lingers. Growth isn't linear, it isn't loud. Sometimes, it's simply staying soft in a hard moment. Sometimes, it's one breath at a time. You're not behind. You're becoming. You are already doing the work. Just by listening. Just by being here. Let that be enough for now. You are part of something deep and vast and moving. And it holds you, even when you forget. Be gentle with yourself. You're allowed to rest.